So, so one thing that with my clients, when I go, on my offers, whenever I do vacant land or development, I put buyers review and approval, because a lot of times they may not even be in state, and they'll say, Jeff, go down to the county, Jeff, do this, send me the info. But on my initial purchase agreement for land, I put buyers to review and approve of, and then her check sheet she has, water system, septic, land use and zoning, access and easement. I put that actually in my additional provisions. And then when I go, because they can't, I meet with the county, I get all these cards and I hand them over to the client and say, buyer has reviewed and approved of water, da, 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 da. So I did that on my last deal, all my deals, and my clients, whenever they come back, I can, for the removal of contingencies that you decided you didn't want to do, but you had me do it. And I gave you the names and numbers of everybody to call. And then you said you reviewed and approved of the name and numbers to call. That's not on me, because we're not interpreting what they're telling us. We're just the mediator delivering the information. So use this when you write your offers. Subject to boom, 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 boom. And I always say buyers to review and approve, not the realtors, the buyer to. And then when I do my removal contingencies, which I really suggest you do removal contingencies on vacant land.
Yeah.
Not whatever the company wants to do on housing. Vacant land is where you get the aha got yous. I mean, I'm 21 years into it and I got hit with that well thing. I had no idea. I thought I knew everything about development. And I get hit with that. I'm like, what are you talking about, illegal well? So buyer has reviewed and approved, or received, reviewed and approved of everything, which goes into, won't mention names, about legal access. She's smiling in here because that gets us every once in a while. So legal access is really, really tricky on these properties. When I lived in Trail, on Bush Road, right next to Lewis Road, as you go out to Trail there, been there forever, right? The house been there since the 70s. I get knocked on the door, and the guy at the very, very end of the road, like 10 houses down, has his house in escrow. He didn't have legal access. So he's begging me, he's almost in tears, like, I'm losing my home, will you please sign an easement? I'm like, what for? I don't want you coming on my property. He's like, no, 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 the road that we're using. They came up in a prelim, way at the end of the road, he didn't have access off this road. So he's going door to door to door to door, right? Signing an easement on the existing road that's been there since the beginning of time. Now, it wasn't surveyed, right? Who's going to pay for the survey for 2 miles of gravel road? But when he went to sell his property, he didn't have an easement or access to use the road, even though he's probably the original one there. So when it comes to development of land, how do you get there? You break it all down. So you got your water, DEQ, sewer, what kind of septic can you put in? Where can you build? Planner, county tells you, yeah, it's a legal lot. Yes, you can build. Here's how you get your permit. Then you get to, how do I get there? Easement, access, talk to your neighbors. Hopefully, if you're, it's one of my projects, it'll be a developed, here's what we have. My developers, when we did some properties off Rogue River Drive, it was very, and we even surveyed it in, because Ken will attest, some of these rural properties say, hey, you have legal access. We're not going to be sure where. It's somewhere over here, but you have it unless you survey it in and get it to the exact rock. We don't know where, but you have it, which is good. But if it's not surveyed, you don't know where. You can still get a loan on that because it says, yes, you have insurable access, but we're not sure how you get there.
And there are roads out in the Applegate that are BLM roads, and BLM will not give you
okay, write this down. M660. That sounds really weird. The M660 agreement is a book this big with every single BLM road easements in it, and it's in an archive that may have that road in there where they can't block you.
Well, I know that a lot of the houses had loans on them, and when it was brought up to the loan people like Wells Fargo that this road was not an easement, they freaked out and pulled all the loans.
Right.
Wow.
Check that M660.
It's Ferris Gulch, by the way.
But well, Jeff, I was wondering, I've run into BLM Access, and what they do is charge you from the beginning of the road to where your property, where you want to access and go to your property. And then they have these fees that they come up with. Have you run into that?
So I have, yeah, I have seen where they charge that. They call it a maintenance fee is what I ran into. right? But here's what happens is you can kind of argue a little bit with that because they do that because of logging, tearing it up. So when I ran into that, it was up in Trail. I sold basically the top of Campbell Mountain, and M660 agreement let us use it without any type of maintenance. We were good because it was grandfathered in that. That M660 that BLM has, and they should provide to you, will actually show the BLM roads that they agree that are grandfathered in. They don't tell you that because they can't charge it. But that M660 was huge. I learned that years ago when I sold it because they did that to my guy. He's like, well, why can't I go in there? I have an easy, well, it's deer and elk winter ground. You can't go past this gate. You can't go in there at all. Well, we found that agreement and they go, well, actually, you can't stop them from going in there. Now, if they destroy the road and there's obviously damage in there, yeah, the BLM can come after them. But that agreement, if you can find it and you can find that road that falls in it, you have something to hang on to, you know?
Yeah, is that online or at the county review?
I got it from BLM Direct. That, I haven't ran into that in years, but I do know that agreement does exist.
You can go to the BLM office and say, I want to see your M660.
M660, yeah, yep. It's a road use agreement. It had every, you know, when you go into, you're driving around, you see 37, 1 west, blah, blah, blah. Those roads are all in there. And you can actually have the title company map where that is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or you could just bring Jeff on to do partner and join your partner. Because that was fun. He just went to Sioux Falls. He had to deal with all these different, one neighbor was not nice about, no directional sign.
Oh,
Yeah, so he cleaned all that up.
That was it. Well, we had to prove we had an easement. They didn't like our sign right there. Well, we have an easement to use that farm. Anyway, yes.
On easements too, if you have a property and you're selling a part of it, keeping part and selling another part, remember about easements. Because my parents didn't, and a road that was used for 60+ years on their property, the neighbor who bought the other side pulled $10,000 out of the sky and charged them $10,000 for
For an easement.
an easement
Right.
that
Yep.
they had in their family
Right.
for 40 years.
Yeah, when
Did you
when
guys
he
figure
was,
that out in Zoom land? No.
here, I'll clarify that because I have a
Thank
story with that. So Diana made a really good point. When Preston was a baby, we had 2 parcels that we owned side by side. We sold it and I kept an easement for the other piece. So I had to make sure I transferred it with the owner because I own both pieces. So I sold 2 properties that were contiguous
Right,
with the same easement. I didn't need an easement because it was mine.
right.
I just moved over here and we built and we sold this. And I had to make sure I gave my guy, being a realtor, I transferred that easement ownership to him so there was no issues down the road
Right.
for him. When she's saying that they didn't do that, and then when they needed it, the client goes, well, give me 10 grand, I'll let you use the road that's already there. So make sure when you do that, it comes back to making sure your access is insurable. Ideally, it's surveyed in, so you know exactly where it is, there's no confusion, and it's insurable. So yes, and they don't always get moved when they do that.
Usually, if you can prove you've used the road for that many years, 40 years, it's usually not an issue. Exactly, a prescriptive easement, but the parents didn't have the money for attorneys to, when they got an attorney involved, but it would have been probably more than $10,000 worth. Anyway.
If you have a bridge on the easement and the bridge is not engineered, then.
It goes down, it spirals out of control. Yeah.
It's just-
The biggest thing is terrorist checklist is something that I wish I had 21 years ago, because a lot of the stuff you learn as you go, and it's expensive. One thing is, once you get your water, your sewer, your land use thing, one thing that got me, sold 10 acres up in Shady Cove. My guy bought it. I made the stupid mistake. Barry Kaiser Hub. I stood on it and I go, there's Barry's Hub. I know Barry's a good guy. He goes to my church. Yeah. Hey, this is Barry. This is the line. That's the line. That's the line. Guy builds a shop. I get a call about 3 years later. He walks in. He goes, dude, you owe me. What do you mean I owe you? He goes, you pretend to be a surveyor. That pin was moved.
Whoa.
What are you talking about? It was moved. He goes, I went to the county surveyor. I pulled the survey and I matched it. And that pin was off 25 feet. My shop's on the neighbors.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't ever look at a survey pin on rural property and go, hey, I know that survey marker, I know that marker, draw a line, this is your line. No, that was a $3,500 education.
You still need a survey, but
Yeah.
it's usually less expensive if there's pins on the property.
Well, verify the pin is actually where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's why you have a survey, right?
I mean, it literally was buried. I called him and he did me a solid. I pointed at your hub on the ground for my guy to build the shop when he bought the property. And he's like, well, let me come out there. I'm with him. I'm stressed out. My guy's pissed. I get there 3 years later. I get there and he goes, Jeff, that's my hub. That's not my pin. My pin it was moved. $3,500 to do it. I did an easement. What I did is I did a lot line adjustment. How stupid as that sounds. We actually flipped. There were two rectangular squares. We carved out 20 feet and just flipped it. We took 20 here because I don't like easements because easements get people mad. Just you own it, I own it. I don't have to worry about my shop being on your easement. We knock on the door, can I go paint it, right? So we did an easement, but what I'm getting at is everything you see, water, verify with the water master, septic, DEQ. Are you cool? One thing about septic, which is really interesting. You buy a piece of property. One thing that I'm doing, if you have any acreage, any property that I have multiple buyers that'll buy a piece of property, manufactured home, ideally, or tear down on property. They want to buy them to build their dream house on. If there's a well, septic, power, everything's there, they'll buy it. So little push here for Jeff. If you have something for sale on vacant land or any land, please let me know because that buyer's looking for it. When it comes back to that, the septic, when you have a standard septic, this is really interesting to me. And I learned this actually on my Tola Road project last year. So we did a hydraulic test. I bought the property, septic tank was trash, no good. So I knew I needed a tank. The tank was gonna be about $8,000 to tank it. So once we realized that it didn't work, on the outside of the tank, the drain field didn't work. The Sweetwater Sanitation, Kevin's awesome. He runs his line in there, he runs it, water comes right back in. He's like, dude, your whole system's gone. Old system. So my buddy comes back out with a little mini excavator and he starts digging on the outlet side of my tank. It wasn't even connected. The cast iron that was used to run from the drain field was gone. It was rusted out. And he's like, hold on a second, Jeff. We may have something here. Your system wasn't even connected. So we cleaned it all up. We bring in 120 gallons of water. We back it in there. And this was scary because I'm still doing my due diligence. We run the line into the drain field. And he goes, well, we'll find out if this is going to work. Winner pulls the lever and 120 gallons of water. Just, like, this is not going to end well. Worked. He shuts it down and he's like, dude, I'm not going to deny your system. If it's taking 120 gallons all at once, I'm going to write this report saying your system is functioning as it should, but this is trashed, as you know. So I go to DEQ, make my application, say, hey, here's the deal. I'm replacing the house. I'm building this. Here's the square footage of, here's the bedrooms or the rooms. And they go, okay, you can put your tank in, but oh man, the first report said everything was no good. And the tech goes, well, you got to do it all. I'm like, wait, flip the page. He's like, oh, it wasn't even connected. Who am I? Yeah, I want you to replace your system. This is super, super old. You should replace it, but I'm not going to make you because Kevin at Sweetwater did the flow test. He's like, I can't force you to. Yeah, you know, it's going to fail. I'm like, yeah, if you tell a client your system's going to fail, just like your car motor is going to fail.
Yeah.
You can't disarm how it will, but yeah, but not now. But no, you're good. So I connected it all up. It's good to go. Sold the property. Another septic company comes out. He goes, oh man, I'm telling you right now, I'm failing. I'm like, what do you mean you're failing it? Well, I can tell you right now, your standard drain field's most likely clay tiles and they break and they shatter and they're no good. I'm going to run the camera down there and I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably going to fail. I then go, well, this company did this hydraulic test. And if it was a tile, if tiles crack and break, but yet they're still taking the water, they're still taking the clear liquid, the grays, we're good. Well, technically you could be good, but I just don't think that's smart. I'm like, no, what's smart and what's legal, what's right is what I'm asking you. And he's like, well, they're probably going to be cracked tiles, but if you ran 120 gallons down that system, it's working fine. I'm like, good. I think we're on the same page here, which is why it's really good to go to your inspections on all rural properties because you learn so much when the well guys are.
And it's really good to know
what you're learning today, you know, because if you hadn't been you and you hadn't known that, you would have just taken this guy who is a professional and gone, okay, he must know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Right? But because you knew.
And you need to be there if it's
Yes.
listing, because I did that out on Stage Road, and the buyer showed up, but not buyer's agent.
Oh.
And.
Right. Yeah.
And we're doing the septic, we're paying the septic company because the seller agrees to have it checked and for service and everything else.
Right.
And this nice young man, I mean, he had a ton of questions, and I said to him, I said, you know, direct your questions to the well guy. I'm not supposed to be guiding you. I'm representing the seller.
Yeah.
Where's your
Where's your
agent?"
representation?
Yeah. He says, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's another good one about water. There's a couple on the water thing, which your clients should know this. My good friend of mine, didn't represent him, thank goodness, bought one of my listings from another firm. And at the end of the day, he got mad and he called me like, I can't grow fruit trees and I can't grow blueberries in my shower. I can't grow anything. You know, anybody know what he had wrong?
Boron.
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
Exactly. I'm like, if you know your clients want to be gardeners and they want to grow food and they don't understand it, a top 35 on every single rural property you sell is so important.
So important, another one. Salt.
Salt,
Yeah,
fluoride.
Yeah.
I've seen it all, right?
Sulfur just stinks.
But salt you can't get out, which is general stuff. You have to go through the big.
Cool.
Boron was in the water or the soil or?
In the water.
In the water. So
Mm.
boron.
Yeah, boron kills all fruit and blueberries, especially blueberry. They just bit it right away. It's poison. So on your water, when I went, water is also important when it comes to, well, I won't mention his name. Actually, it was our deal we did together years ago. I went out there for the well flow for our listing. The guy, it was cold. The guy went in and he was working on there and I watched him. You know, they should take the water sample from the well head, right? The closer, you know, run on the ground. Well, I'm watching him and I hear, son of a bitch. I'm like, well, that's not good. I look in the pump house.
I sellers in their nice warm house. See, it was 40 acres and I put it out in Jukeball. And I'm like, I'm not dumb. It's gonna be a spendy place. Jeff, would you like to co-list? He said, sure. Will you handle the contracts and all this with the clients? I said, yeah, if you do all this other stuff. He was out there. And the elk and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The
that-
elk from the deck.
So the guy had actually broke a fitting on the top of our well.
Oh.
And then he fixed it, and then he bills our client $175 for a broken fitting. Well, then I called the tech back and I said, I just gotta ask you a quick question. Do you remember that? He goes, remember what? I go, son of a bitch. And he goes, oh. Like, I was there when you snapped the fitting off. So why should we fix your mistake? That's not fair to my client. He's like, disregard, I'll send you a new invoice. And he didn't. He took that back off
Wow.
because he had broke it to get the flow going. And so when you go to these, over my years of going to well flows and septic, I mean, I had one septic company who was gonna fail a septic system because the lid was cracked. You think you needed work? I'm like, you're gonna fail my system because the lid's cracked? He's like, well, it's getting water's in. I'm like, I can buy a new lid.
Yeah.
How about that? So when you go to these rural property inspectors, that's why I go to all mine. Every single inspection I try to go to. Especially if it's my clients are gonna be there or not, just because rural property, water, sewer, and like power, all the stuff it takes to put this together so they understand. You know how many clients buy rural property have no idea that when the well goes out, it's on them?
Yeah.
I don't call it a utility company. No, you own the water. This is you. Or your septic fails, it's you, and here's how much that costs.
But with your home warranty, you can also get your well pump covered and some of your wells.
Laura, yep,
So I have a question. I just want your opinion.
speak
So
loud.
if, okay, so, you're going to have a well flow test or well top 35 done. And they have like a lot of extra filtration systems. Do you then get the water sample collected inside the house?
Very good question. If it's me, I advise my clients, like, listen, do you want to know what's coming out of the ground or do you want to know if your system's working or both? I put it back on them. Me, I ask them to do both.
Yeah.
Do one here, do one there.
That's what I would think.
This
But
might-
I've always kind of, gone back and forth on that.
If you're buying land, you're gonna want to know. I mean,
You're talking 800, 900 million dollar property.
Yeah, you leave it up to them.
They can make that.
Some of my clients actually do just do the one side. Most clients don't care. In my experience, they go, I don't really care what it looks like here.
Yeah.
I care when my kids drink it here, or my family, or my mom, or whatever, my family's here. What am I getting here? You know, that's the most important. Most of my families don't do two. I advise them to do two, but they don't. Some do, because what if they want to take it out? What if this is an overkill system? I've had some that were under or too much. You know, they have the system, oh, you have a water softener, you're good. And it comes out the other side and it's full of minerals. It's like, ooh, wait, the softener doesn't take out the minerals. I didn't know that. Well, what are we really getting? Which is why normally I do 15 business days on my rural property due diligence in case there's an oh no.
That's
You know.
not on your list. You guys should add that.
And also you want to negotiate who cares.
Yeah.
Well, with rural property, I try to, one of the questions I got beat up on with the last time I was talking about this type of topic was, what's the order of importance for finding, like, if you have a client that's on a very fixed budget and they don't have a bunch of money, but they want to make sure they have enough to build or do what they want. For me, things that are free, obviously you want to go to the county. It's a couple $100. Go to the county and make sure you have something to work with. If there's an old or even a septic permit that's not been installed, is it still good? Because just so you know, the county and DEQ do not talk. Totally different entities. When I replaced my Tola Road, I went to the county and said, okay, we're good to go. I'm like, no, you're not. County didn't say you could, or DEQ didn't say you could. I'm like, well, here it is. Like, no, go get this piece, another piece of paper saying Jeff can do this. So I go back to DEQ. I'm like, hey, here it is. Like, oh yeah, you need this. Well, why didn't you give me that the first time? So
They don't.
huh?
It used to be, they had a sanitation.
Right.
Yeah.
So now it's brutal. Anyway, so you get the DEQ piece of paper, that goes to the county, and they go, oh, DEQ says it's good, it's good. My own experience with DEQ, which makes me so mad, because you never know who you're gonna get. When I built our house 3 years ago, we had our house here, and there's a big pond, a big swell down here in the fields where I wanted to build my house, my personal house. I called DEQ and said, hey, I'm gonna remove my home and put a new home in there. The guy calls me back and says, I had my septic all ready to look at. Gate shut, and calls me up on his personal phone and goes, hey, I'm at XYZ. Do you want to build your house or not? Total jerk. I'm like, well, I do, but I didn't know you were coming out to check the system. I'll be right there. And he goes, no, I don't need you here. Open the gate. I'm like, can I explain? He goes, Mr. Johnson, if you want to build your house, you will give me the gate code. I will get this done for you and you can get your permit next week. Delete this number. It's my phone. Whatever, gate code, blah, blah, blah. 2 days later, I get a letter saying I could build. Now, does anybody know how to get gray water down a hill, up a hill, and over a hill? As is? I have a normal drain system. He's like, you're good to go, build it. I'm like, man, I don't want to be stupid and insult you, but this water isn't going to go up there. As is, he gave me the green light. So that's what drives me nuts with our DEQ guys, because he's now gone. He actually got a promotion. He's not even here anymore. Somebody else is doing it.
Saw the fingerprints. Well, I had a client had a piece of rural property out off of, off of, East Hills up here, anyway, and it was definitely rural property. And he said, I have city water. Now, this guy was about 105 years old, and knew everything, and I went, okay. And so I went down to the Medford Water Department, and I said, my client says he has city water, and they said, well, let's look it up. And sure enough, when they were taking their pipes from Phillipview Springs up, bringing it to the city, for some of those places, they, instead of paying them for an easement, they got water.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Derby Road off Crowfoot Road has that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this
City
was
water up there off
Foothill.
Derby.
It started on Foothill.
Yeah. Yep. Very normal.
But I was like,
So. I forgot where I was going on that. Oh, so, well, getting with with DEQ, so what I'm saying is, we all are human. We all make mistakes. This guy said I could do this. Reality is, just simple physics says it's impossible, that wouldn't work. So what I did on my example is I put a new system in down here with a pump system to move it through to connect the two systems without wrecking my pasture. But I'd have to disclose it. It's not a legal septic system. The tank is not, but he signed off on it. So when I go to sell it on my own property, they go, you're good to go. Here's DEQ said I could do it. Didn't say what, didn't say how, just said good to go. County goes, you're good to go. I put a new 1,500 gallon tank in with the pump moving the water to the old system, still using my old system. County walks right by it and goes, man, this is great. Here you go. Here's your C of O. Have a nice day. Standing right by my system with the 2 big green limbs going up to 5 acres. That wasn't in the permit. Nobody agreed. Nobody knew about it. But when I said, hey, can I ask how is this supposed to work? Do you want it done or not? Stop asking questions. Fair enough. I'm just trying to understand with the septic systems. And I feel bad for DEQ. There's one guy that runs all counties, Curry County, Josephine, Jackson. And when I got him on the phone, the new guy, nice guy ever. He's like, man, I'm sorry. I'm swamped. Take pictures, email me the pictures. If you have a licensed guy that did it, I will sign off on it so you can continue with your project. And then I lost his number again. He's back. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm like, oh. So septics are very, very, everything we do in real estate, you guys know is tricky. But for me, with the water and the little, oh my God, it's not as scary as I'm probably making it sound. It's just, there's a lot of little innuendos that, you know, when it comes back to the client, like day one, my own cousin, how much money do you have? Well, I don't have a lot. Well, then you don't want to buy here. I didn't say that. But when you have a budget for real property, my brother called me last night. I'm selling my house. I'm going to buy this property on Crowfoot, which I know that property on Crowfoot is littered with arsenic with 3 wells. I don't know if you guys know that. It's for $350 up by the river. He wants to look at that, but he's thinking he's going to be, he has no horsepower. Means, Robert, water needs treated. Septic's probably going to need work. I don't have the money for that. Is he a rural buyer?
No.
But how do you tell somebody that, especially with a family? But at the end of the day, it's like with our buyers that call on all these rural listings and stuff, I almost think it's safe to say you need about 30 grand extra for incidentals. Wow. Honestly, you know, if septic goes out, if the septic goes out now, you're doing the ATT one, which now has a, you guys probably know this, you have to have a maintenance record, which means an annual service comes out and you have to show the DEQ you're maintaining it. And those systems are 40 to 50 grand.
That's to put in the septic.
Yeah.
Today.
Yep.
That doesn't,
Okay,
that calls.
I know. Right. So if you buy a property and you're rolling and all of a sudden, one thing about this, on your property, if you pull the septic permit on anything that's established, you may get lucky enough to have a repair area that's not been utilized. They don't tell you about that. So septic's here, and every time you get a septic permit, they have a designated repair area on that permit. So if the drain field fails, this has been approved to just add over here. If you have that, you can argue with DEQ, hey, the system's failed. And here's my repair area. I'm going to go ahead and do it here. And they can't make you tear it all out if it's permitted, already approved on your permit when it was installed.
How
So you
common
can
is
argue
that?
with that.
How common is that?
It's pretty common.
Pretty common. Yeah.
They're
No,
also-
Jeff, one of the things I just learned last week was about these I don't know, the kind of system where there's a pump that's one of these new systems, and then every year they have to send in a report to have this evaluated and pay money. So this is a new system, a new thing to me.
Yeah, it's called an ATT system.
Yeah. But nobody does the annual, nobody really knows about this annual fee.
So Kevin at Sweetwater Sanitation, he's a licensed and a state approved educator for systems. So if you, Kevin at Sweetwater, he does all of mine. And he teaches classes that even my clients have questions. You can call him up on his cell phone, like, hey, do this on your system and you'll be fine.
Who is that?
Kevin at Sweetwater Sanitation.
Oh, okay, I know.
He does the maintenance too, the yearly.
Yep, he does the yearly maintenance too, yeah.
Jeff is not paid by Sweetwater.
Does
Nobody's bailed me out so many times.
he would, after he
Sorry,
does
Eric.
After he looks at or inspects it every a yearly basis or whatever, does he then have is it up to him to send in the paperwork?
You know, I've never had it. I think so. I mean, he gives it to the client. I haven't given it to the client. The client sends it in.
Client that lived on Kings Highway, and she was right in between, Rogue Valley Sewer and Medford.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of closer to like Stewart Avenue,
Mhm.
but it's on Kings Highway, and they had a septic, and then during the inspection, they had to end up getting one of the ATT systems.
Yep.
And that was very spendy.
Wow.
Right.
I want to say like 13 grand or something.
Wow.
It was,
then that's the deal now. I think when my clients, I always tell my clients, you want to be in control of your stuff. So when Kevin
Yeah.
does those reports, I have to tell my clients, make sure you just like pay your own taxes. You take it to the, or email it to them.
Then you know it's done.
the city was the one, because they're in the city limits. I
Oh,
think they're the ones that require. I
So if
mean,
they're in the city limits and they had city sewer available,
That's weird.
why didn't they connect?
Because the neighbor behind them wouldn't give her.
Got it.
Out in the Applegate,
Got it.
the drain fields are not necessarily on the same property as the property.
Right.
They're
Right.
over here, and there's
Right.
an easement for the drain field on Thompson Creek. Most of the ones
Right.
on the west side, they have their drain fields on the east side.
That leads me to one more thing I want to make sure I clarify. This is very important. This is another one of those, like, aha, got you moments, is irrigation.
Oh, yeah.
Irrigation, Applegate got me one of my very first deals in ever. I sold the property in Applegate. We had an irrigation right. I verified irrigation rights. They told me how much I had, when it comes on, when it goes off, everything's good. Here's where it comes from. Everybody loves the water.
Mhm.
My client calls me back and says, hey, we got a problem. I was actually in Eastern Oregon with Mike Molepsy, and I got the phone call. My stomach sunk. He's like, I'm gonna have my attorney call you because I don't have water. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, you did. And then Mike looks at me while we're driving across the desert and he goes, where's your diversion point? I'm like, what? Where's it come from? I go, it came out of the ditch. He goes, no. Where did it come from in the river? I'm like, across the road. And he's like, you got an easement? Right. So horrible trip over in Eastern Oregon. I get home, stomach's a mess, go back to the water master. He's like, yeah, here's your water right. I'm like, what? Where do I get it? Well, you get it out of the Applegate, and it's a big, beautiful horse ranch. And I went over there and I knocked on the guy's door and was like, hey, wondering why I can't get water. And he's like, you don't have an easement. And I should try. And I'm like, well, you do know I have an easement to the river. He's like, yeah, but how are you going to get it? Your easement stops 10 feet short of that pond. All right, I get you don't want my guy here. So I did, back in the day, we had microfish. Went to the county,
Oh, my gosh.
slipping through the microfish. This is just stupid. One thing I found out when you partition a property, you a lot of times can find easements reserved on the deeds. So I'm flipping through the microfish, and sure enough, that guy's deed, there was an easement reserving water rights to the middle of the Applegate River through his organic garden
Oh.
for my guy. So I want the water, man. This guy was, oh my, I didn't know what to do. So I set up a meeting with this guy and my buyer in his house. I had all the copies. We sit down, shaking like a leaf, going, I'm either gonna get shot or I'm a hero. So I sit down with the client and I pull up the copies from the county and the water master. And I go, so here's the water right. He goes, yeah. And he's got his big old hat on. He's like, you don't have it. You can't use it. I'm like, well, what about this document?
Oh, jeez.
Guy was livid. Oh, where the hell did you get that? I'm like, well, the reality is you knew it existed. If you knew it existed, why can't you be neighborly? Just let him use the pond up here by the corner, which you wanted to use. But when you said the easement was mapped over here and didn't make it to the water's edge, so my guy literally can go through your pond, around your orchard, through the trees, and put his pump right next to your wife's canning area by the creek. When do you want that to start? Well, can we work this out? Can we work this out? And all of a sudden, he's nice, and my guy has the, you're like, well, we could use the pond. You're the one that ran me off with a gun when I tried to turn the water on.
Wow.
So easements, diversion point for water, where do you get it?
Yep.
Where does the water actually come from, and can you get it? Do you know there's plenty of water rights available in Lost Creek? More than we ever need. Can't get it.
Mm.
You gotta get an easement to get it. Evan Molepsy is a water rights examiner, engineer in town. You call Evan, he's like, yeah, you have them, but where's your diversion point? Where are you gonna be able to put your pump in and run the water to your house?
And the river moved.
Right? And a lot of those diversion points are surveyed in depending on how new they are. And if the river does move, what if it's going away from your diversion point?
Yeah, it did. No, there are a whole bunch of things on Highway 238 that their diversion points are not right.
So
Wow.
water rights are great as long as you know where you get them. And if you can map the diversion point to make sure you're not gonna have a neighbor call you and say, no, you can't come turn your pump on. You don't have an easement.
It's a very large can of worms, selling things out.
I'm gonna correct that on here.
Well, actually,
No.
once you follow her
Yeah.
checklist,
Checklist.
this checklist, I'm telling you,
In town, that's it.
this checklist, no, see, this is huge value for our company because no one's doing this the right way. We're doing this the right way, and as you do this the right way, it'll be the point where, I won't mention her name, at Top Agents, called one of my friends and said, I wish I was with Windermere still. She left us. Because she's selling a property on Foothills and doesn't know how to deal with the septic, water, and irrigation.
Jeez.
And this individual is a really good friend of mine, says, hey, do you mind if she calls you? And I said, yeah, actually I do. He's like, well, she needs help on this. She can refer her back, refer the client to Windermere.
Right.
We can do this. We're working on making us understand how we can take care of our clients. She left because of whatever reason, and now she's like, I don't know how to sell real property.
Wow.
Oh, well.
So if I could just, I want to clarify something in my head, as far as rural properties. In my head, I'm thinking we can kind of divide this into two sections, right? So bare land and
Yes,
a house with utilities.
yes,
Yep.
And so the house with utilities and something's already there, the job is, was it done right to begin with, and does it still work?
Right.
Right? And with bare land is, can we get there, can we build, and does he have enough?
Right.
I mean, that's in general sense, kind of sort of like, because some
Right.
of these conversations are overlapping.
yeah, you're
between
right.
bare
Right.
land and already existing and putting in a septic or confirming a septic's already there. You kind of need to divide those up and be like,
100%.
was it done right and does it still work, or can we do it and do they have enough money to do it?
Bare land's a whole nother class,
Yeah,
honestly, because bare land, starting from absolutely ground zero,
Yeah,
is a whole nother world of, okay, where do we begin now?
yeah, right.
You
Okay,
know,
so we're gonna-
actually, I'm headed to CSA planning at 1:30 on a project to ask him that very same question. I have a property I want to look at. I'm bringing that maps to him and going, where do I begin?
Yeah,
Is this even is there a shot in Hades to get my home site here?
yeah.
If they go, no way, you're wasting your time. Well, then what's the value on this property? Recreational use.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're kind of like two different beasts, really.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
I like to sell things that are done and then unfold all the layers. So,
Right, like-
you know, what kind of deal is here? Is there a deal to be made for
Yeah,
my client and a lot of things people don't even know most people that I ran into, not a lot of them, don't understand the importance of what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
They'll list it, oh, you have water and a sewer, you're good to go. I mean, Diana had a deal this year that the system was failed and it's been failed by 2 different companies. And the realtor goes, well, we think we fixed it, kind of sort of thought we fixed it. Maybe the plumber was gonna fix it, didn't know we didn't fix it. Well, your system has failed. It is what it is. One thing in real estate, if it's failed, it is what it, don't sugarcoat it and say the plumber fixed it and you cost everybody time and energy and money. The system doesn't work, fix it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna, we have no money.
It's
Well-
still on the market.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
to lower the price to get to where, you know, the difference there is whatever.
But,
So a lot
but if you do that up front, sorry, if you do that up front when you list a property,
Yeah.
tell your client, hey, give me your permits, pull your permits, check with the county, check with all that, now you have something that's, there's no aha got you. I hate when you have aha got you moments
Yeah.
on real estate, when it's because someone just said, I didn't want to take the time to know what I'm actually selling.
Yeah.
But on the vacant dirt, whole nother world, we should go have a coffee, because that,
Right.
it's,
Right.
I do that.
So just so you know, on the handouts that you got, the first page on both the checklist and the due diligence reminders, the first page has to do with property that already has a home on it. Yeah, and the second page is all vacant land. The
There you
second
go.
page
There
of
you go.
both,
Yeah,
okay?
I felt like some of the conversation was overlapping.
Yeah, and you're right, it does happen.
It's a different thing.
It is.
it
It's
is.
dealing with DEQ on, I got a cow pasture, I look at a house on, it's completely different than I got a septic tank I need to make sure.
I've had clients buy a cow pasture, call me up, they put a well in and go, hey, I'm good to go, I got a well.
What?
Well, do you have a septic and home site? It doesn't matter, I have a well. Okay, you can water your horses. Do you have power? No, I have a well. Like, where's your power? I don't know. What do you mean power? Well, how do you get the water out?
How's he using the?
Well,
So if I have a client that's trying to do a piece of property and they want to get, county, do I have a home site? Can I get one? Yes, you can get one. Perfect. DEQ, test holes, dig 3 test holes, $800. Give me the application, dig your 3 test holes and wait for them to come out and say, yes, you can have a septic. It's going to go here and here's what I want you to put in it. Perfect. Give me that copy of that. So all I gotta do is pay you $1,200. I get my permit and I can move forward or whatever it is today. Yep, good. Go back to the county. I have a septic permit here. Now my home is gonna go here. Wait, you got a permit? Septic? Oh, changed the whole dynamics of the county. I've seen properties I sold on Butte Falls, 9600 Butte Falls Highway. The septic was there and installed in the 80s. And my client goes, oh, my permit's expired. I'm like, well, hold on a second. Let's just see what they're gonna say, because you did some development as it says in the code. Went down there and they go, oh, the septic's in? Like, yep, here's proof. Home site's good. Build it where it is. And I had power there too. I had power and the septic already there for $180, 180,000. I'm like, hey, your home site's good, so don't sell it below that. It's like, you can build tomorrow. I can pull a permit today and put a manufactured home on there, stick build it, whatever today. They can't stop you because the septic was in.
Yeah.
They're all different though. So just because you have a permit but not installed, it's probably expired.
If it's installed and in, done.
You have a very, very good chance of going, hey, we can't stop the process of building now because your septic is installed.
Even though it wasn't permitted?
It was permitted.
Oh,
You
you're
know,
okay.
in order to be, yeah.
Yeah, in
Was
order
it
to
final?
Yep.
Oh.
In the 80s. I didn't know it even worked. It's been there since the 80s.
Can you clarify to me that the DEQ is not a person that you go see, there's no one that you can go down there?
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
So comment about the DEQ not being a person.
Go to the county and you see if you live, but that's not how.
Yeah.
No, DEQ is over off of Stewart Avenue. And they used to be great, but they have
They
the
used to be
huge
great.
cutbacks. You can't go in there, the door's locked. And I made an appointment to go meet with her, and it was the day we had all the snow. So I made an appointment. They don't, oh, there's no voicemail. You call the number to leave a voicemail, it just rings. There's no voicemail. Either they answer or you don't get them. You send an email, about 3 weeks to get a response on average. So make sure your due diligence timeline are planned for them. And what I did on mine, I just literally put that in there. I was the buyer. Seller, if you can help me get in front of DEQ, I will close as soon as I get an answer. I can't get them to call me back. I can't get them to answer their phones, and they locked me out. The door is locked. If you go there right now, it's locked. So I made the appointment, I get there, no joke, waiting 2 hours. No call, no show, no nothing. Knock on the door, somebody comes from around the corner, peeks, sees me, jumps back behind the house. They didn't even open the door. And all I wanted to do was give them money, give them my application, and make sure it was filled out correctly so I don't have to come back. So I threw it in, there was a Dropbox, I drop it off, I'm fuming. I get an email a week later saying I missed a check mark. Please
Oh my
please
God.
complete and send back. Of course, I wanted to send a nice nasty gram back going, I was waiting for 2 hours, so I didn't have this problem and was delayed on my closing. So DEQ is one you want to get to as soon as possible until they get help and hire people. With one tech going through 3 or 4 counties.
It's
They
ridiculous.
used to be really good, like they would answer the phone and they would tell you all kinds of information. And then I had a listing out on Sterling Creek and I wanted to just find some information about the septic system. And I went on their website and I printed all the stuff up, all location, blah, 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 all their little notes and
Yep.
memos. And I was still wanting to get clarification on something. So I went to Stewart Avenue and you're right, their door was locked. I knocked on the door. Anyway, somebody answered it. She was very nice at all.
Right.
And I said, this is what I have. No, I can't answer any of your
Yep.
questions. I can't answer
Yep.
anything. And I go,
Oh, gosh.
just a minute. So she goes over there and I go, I've already printed all the stuff up on the site.
Right.
She goes, just a minute. And then she came back and she gave me the same stuff I already had.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't answer anything.
That's why we get paid the big bucks.
Like,
You gotta keep, yeah. It's super frustrating because the husband and wife team that used to run it, they retired.
oh, I know that, I knew
Yeah.
that they had.
The husband,
last
yeah,
name.
he was in the field and she would run it, and you'd call her cell phone.
Right.
You tell her what the problem is. I remember he's gone now, Bill Stedman, I sold a property up there and it had a metal tank, like a Swiss cheese tank. And the client had cancer and I go, hey, we gotta fix your tank. He's a super great guy. And he goes, well, I don't have the money to fix your tank. I go, I got a plan. My guy will do their whole system. We'll do it through escrow. We'll sell the property. We're good. I came out there 2 weeks later, the tank was gone, crushed on his truck. A new tank was in and installed and my guy's happy. And I'm like, what did you just do? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you can't do this without a permit. And he's like, why can't I? Well, I know it's shady code in the wild, wild west. We should probably get a permit when I go to sell this. And he had a Polaroid. He took a bunch, he goes, here, just take those with you to the county. They're gonna want $240. They may charge you $10 for not telling them your did it. but it's fine. So I drove all the way to Grants Pass DEQ. I had all the information I had to pull. I was stressed out, like, we're going to jail. I put the system in. He took the tank out. We didn't ask for anything. And I go there and I showed it to him. The tech walks out, looks at it, and he goes, "Who did this?" And I said, "Bill Stedman, here's his permit, here's his license." He's like, "Oh, sweet, $240. Here you go, have a nice day." And I'm like, wow, those days are gone.
Yeah.
Because he did, he took the tank out, he crushed it, got rid of it, recycled it, put a new system in, took a bunch of photos, and he did it like that, because my client needed it. He's like, "Dude, my system doesn't work, what am I gonna do?" Bill's like, "I got it, I know how to handle this. Here's your photos, go do it. Make sure it's done with permit, it's done right." And when I sold it, when we had the photos, we had the permit, $240, and he paid the guy direct for the tank.
Wow.
You can't do that anymore. You gotta go through the DEQ came out, literally I had the photos. He still came out a month into my deal and goes, "Hey, you got water in your tank. This thing's failed." "Yeah, told you that." "Can I get a new?" "Oh yeah, you need a new tank. Here's your report." Took a month to get that. I'm like, "Well, I sent you the photos with my application when the lady didn't answer the door when I made the appointment to say, hey, let me save you the trouble. This has failed and here's what I'd like to do." "Yeah?" A month later, they came out and said, "Yeah, it's failed, started work." So DEQ is a big one on your list for due diligence. I think we're good. We're at that time. We're all happy.
So much, everybody, and gosh, Jeff, you were amazing,
Thank you, guys.
seriously.
Appreciate it. Yep.
People on here.
We do this need to be.
Right, I know.
Come on, Jeff.
Yeah, come on, Jeff, you can do it.
Come and talk to us, Jeff.
If Leo brings tacos.
Oh, Leo,